Talking with the experts.
In episode 342, Carla Titus explains why we should outsource our financial services to a chief financial officer.
And it's a very common concern, and I do advise a lot of people to do their vetting. Make sure that you're hiring the right professional, that you know that they are doing good work, and you can see that, in some of like the things that they share, right? Are they knowledgeable? Are they skillful? Have they gotten results before? And also, how do they make you feel? Right? Do they make you feel like you can come to them with problems and partner to drive solutions and brainstorm ideas? Or do you feel like, oh my goodness, I cannot talk to this person. They do not listen. They don't understand me. They have no idea where I'm coming from. That might not be the best CFO for you, right? And there's so many CFO options out there. So if you feel like you're not getting the right partnership or the right integration into your business where the CFO wants to know everything about the business so they can give you the best, most customized advice that really hits the mark, and they're making a difference on your financials too. That's a really clear indication that if your CFO is not helping you make more profit or keep more money, they might not be the right one for you. So be checking for that, because the numbers don't lie, and it's a really easy way to tell, are they just costing me money or they're actually benefiting me in some way?
Welcome to Talking with the Experts. This is where we discuss great ideas to take your business to the next level. How do we know these ideas work? Well, it's because we're talking with business owners who are using these ideas. Business owners who have years of experience and expertise. All things business by business owners for business owners. And now, here is your host, Rose Davidson.
Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. I'm your host, Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com. Talking with the Experts is about all things business by business owners for business owners. You can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. Today my guest is Carla Titus, and Carla is wanting business owners to outsource their services to a chief financial officer, and why it's such a benefit to do that. And she's going to offer some little other business financial advice as well. So Carla is a finance expert with over 15 years of combined corporate financial planning, analysis, strategy, and established online businesses virtual CFO consulting experience. She provides virtual on-demand CFO services and financial consulting to business owners. Wealth and Worth Within's mission is to empower business owners to achieve financial clarity and peace of mind so that they can get back to what they enjoy doing the most. Welcome, Carla, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Rose, for having me. I'm just so excited to share all the knowledge today with your audience.
So what sort of, I know it's financial services, but what specifically should business owners be looking at outsourcing to a chief financial officer?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we get asked that a lot. Why would you need one? And what do you guys do for us? We essentially take over the financial management of the numbers in the business, everything from managing, accountants to bookkeepers, providing guidance and direction, but most importantly, setting the direction strategically for where the company is going, both from a profitability perspective, looking at margins, doing financial planning and projections, understanding what the budget should be for the business, where are we investing the money, and how are we getting an ROI for everything that we're spending money on.
Great, great way to, delegate the stuff that most business owners hate. I
They
am not
do.
a numbers person, and I owned a business like some years ago, a food retail business, and honestly, I used to hate doing the bookkeeping. It was just, I hated it.
I think there's a lot of people in your situation as well that don't know that this is an option. And, they start by outsourcing maybe to a bookkeeper, and that's a great first step because it's an affordable way to have someone keeping up with your numbers for you while you go do more business development or go make some more sales happen or those partnerships. Then they bring in an accountant to figure out their tax situation and start planning ahead on what their, tax liability might be. But then they forget that there's an additional function called the CFO role, where you become a partner to the business owner to help drive that direction, but also do the analysis and all the deep dive in the numbers to understand what is happening in the business. And like you said, most people do not like to look at it, let alone manage it or even take control of it. So that's when, it's such an important and critical aspect of business success, though it's the last thing we want to be doing. And we don't want people to hate doing this. That's why we do that work. Because guess what? I actually love it. I want to be in spreadsheets. I want to be looking at your numbers and telling you what I'm seeing, the trends and the patterns of where it's going well, where there might be some opportunities. And then you, as a business owner, are empowered with data, but you also have your kind of intuition or gut that's telling you, hey, I think things are not great. Maybe we should change. And now I bring you the data to say, yeah, you're right. Or no, you're wrong. Actually, it's going a lot better than you expected. And it marries the two aspects of doing business, the part that you enjoy, which is like the running the business, doing the creative thing, the aspects of the business that you still enjoy, and takes away the pieces that you hate, which is looking at the numbers and doing all that work, because we do it for you to support you in that business growth.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, business planning, financial planning is, can be a bit of a minefield for business owners. So how can, I guess, they plan better with their finances?
Yeah, that's great, because once we get used to looking at our numbers and going back historically to maybe understand what has happened in the past, where it gets really fun is when we start setting the trajectory going forward. And a few steps that business owners should be taking in creating projections is asking the questions: do we want to stay, operating the same way? Do we have new ways we want to make money in the business, new creative ideas that we want to test or try out to see if it's working? Maybe you're getting some feedback from clients or, people you're selling your goods to that says, hey, I wish you had a different color, or I wish that you would do this kind of service in addition to what you do. That is really good information on other ways that you could generate cash in the business and increase your sales and grow over time, while staying, to the core of what you do today. In addition, we want to start looking at costs. Maybe we have plans to expand. Maybe we want to bring in new employees. Maybe we want to grow and scale. And you need to start planning for those things before they are a situation you have to deal with, so that when the decision comes, you're already prepared. You know you can afford a cost, you know what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. And the beauty of this is that you're planning for things based on what you know today. And sometimes what you know today changes. And you go back and revisit the plan and you say, hey, I need to make some adjustments. There's some things that are not, exactly how expected. Maybe we want to delay hiring a couple months because sales weren't to the level we wanted them. Or maybe you say, it's time to bring in a marketing consultant because we really want to grow and we don't know how. So let's get some ideas on the table. Uh, those are decisions that you're going to make in your business. And without a plan, it becomes really hard to have clarity on where you're going forward. So start month by month looking at what is the revenue you expect, setting some goals so that you know exactly the path you're taking next. And then evaluate all your costs. And as you're planning forward, understand what new costs might come to the table because you're growing as a business. Maybe some costs that used to be a priority before are no longer a priority in your business. So you can get rid of some of that. And going through that exercise of asking yourself the questions is going to allow you to better plan what's coming. And then when it does, it's not a surprise.
Yeah, in business, especially financial surprises can be devastating, can't they?
Absolutely. And we do not want to be in that situation and have to react out of an emotional state because we didn't really think ahead. We want to always have a plan, even if the plan changes, is better than not having one.
Mm. I guess, a lot of once you've got this financial plan in place and things maybe don't go to plan, or the business owner wants to deviate from that plan without letting someone else know, how can the CFO bring the business owner back to, have a reality check and make sure that they are staying on track and don't work outside the plan?
This is a fun dynamic, I'll tell you, with supporting so many business owners, different personalities, and what it might be important to them might be different as well. It's interesting to see that even when you bring data that's logical to the table, the business owner might have a completely different reaction that's tied to emotions or other things that are going on. And so approaching it with perspective and having an open mind. I always tell my business owner, I'm here to give you additional insight and maybe options or opportunities that you haven't yet considered, but ultimately it's your decision to make. So if you want to run your business to the ground, I can't stop you. That is not my job. My job is to let you know that, hey, this might be the wrong path to take and you might want to consider XYZ. But just coming in with a mindset of I'm here with the same common goal that you have as an owner, and that is to make you profitable, make sure there's cash in the bank, and that you're paying yourself a market rate. We have that in common. So anything that I say to the business owner is going to be taken with that perspective of we're here working towards the same goal. I'm not trying to do something completely different. And so I start all my partnerships with my business owner saying, just keep an open mind. And I know this might not resonate with you, this option I'm bringing to you, but that might bring you a different idea that you think is the right thing to do. And when that happens, it's just kind of magical, because then you're marrying, the data with like the intuition of the business owner, and then they're driving towards that next path that they know is right for the company. And ultimately, they get to make their own decisions. So there's only so much I can do to prevent them from going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right. Personalities have a lot to play in the factor that how you get on with someone else. But when is a good time for a business to actually involve a CFO? So, is it, when they've reached a certain um, uh, profit level, or, they're bringing so much income into the business, or is it just at any time, when they start, or, or they're, expanding, or they're growing, or whatever?
Yeah, interesting enough, there's different points in time and needs that different stages of growth might have on why they would bring a CFO onto the team. And not all CFOs have to be brought on retainer, meaning we also work project-based type of work. And I'll give you some examples of how we work with people. So for the startup stage, when you're just getting started, the business owner might not have the right skill set to put projections together, and let alone go 5 years out, which sometimes is a requirement for fundraising. And so we do that type of work on a project base to engage early on and show them what could be possible based on the information and some of the validation they've done in the marketplace as far as whether or not there's demand for their product. So that's early stage. Then when you get into the more established stage, 2-3 years in business, maybe you have somewhere between 4 or 5 employees or contractors that you're working with, you're expanding and growing. And that might be early, 6 figures, maybe $500,000 in the business. You still want to have some strategic direction setting. And so that's when you might need to engage a CFO to say, hey, I'm not sure what we should do to grow and what path and what is the cost structure that's right for me in my type of industry and business. And that expertise is really going to come in handy to help accelerate that growth, because now we know where we're going and how we're going to get there with a detailed plan on hand. And then once you get beyond that 500,000, growing to 7 figures, when it gets really fun, because there's challenges in scaling and cost structure become even more critical to ensure the profits stay healthy throughout that transition, then you might even want to consider CFO retainer services to ensure that you're touching base as things are progressing, as you're hitting goals or not hitting goals, and also just getting some accountability. Because I think the piece with business owners is that you can be easily destructible because there's 100 things that need your attention. And as a business owner, it's really hard to carve out the time to go look at the numbers, to set up the plan, to think about the strategy, let alone run the business on its own, right? And manage employees on top of that. So bringing in that function relieves some of the pain on the time constraints a business owner might have at that level scaling, to an expert that can also bring that perspective into the business on what has worked in the past, what you might want to do or consider, some options outside the box that maybe you didn't even think about. And once you get to 7 figures, the problems do not stop. Financially, it's even more critical that you have your ducks in a row. And if you haven't set up financial processes and systems in place, it's never too late, but it's definitely around the time that you need to be considering having a CFO and retainer, because there's so much more complexity to the business, and you alone will not be able to keep up with it unless you have studied finance or you have some expertise and you feel very comfortable in managing all of that yourself. And again, coming back to the time, it's even more so the demands on your attention and what you need to be focusing on in the business to scale beyond the first million to like the next 10.
Yeah, I would think that when you get to like seven figures, it would be critical to have a CFO on board, because you just don't have the time to manage everything at that level. Now, having a CFO, is it just for product-based businesses, service-based businesses, or is it for bricks and mortar businesses as well?
That's a great question. And it's actually for all businesses, regardless of the type of business or even industry. Because when the financials start to get complex, who you're going to turn to for advice and analysis and doing all the calculations on what could work best from a profitability perspective is really going to fall on the role of the CFO. And if you're the CEO and you're the CFO and the HR and the legal and all the things that come with being a business owner, you want to start thinking about your team and how you're going to outsource this out to someone who not only brings experience, but can also do the work and manage some of the functions inside the business that you need to oversee, but then becomes their responsibility to oversee. And the reason we do fractional CFO services is because there's not yet a need for a full-time CFO in the business. There's not enough scope there yet. One day, and we hope to grow you to a full-time CFO need. That means that you've done really well, and then you'll continue on your path. And we give access to the same level of expertise of a $200,000-$400,000 CFO a year for a fraction of the cost. And so that's why we call it fractional CFO. And that expertise is what's going to really allow you to be more profitable and then drive the scalability of the business, also without the concern or the peace of mind that you really want to have, knowing you have the right amount of cash reserve, knowing that you are in control of your numbers, you know what's happening, that you have the right insights and key takeaways in that moment that you need them to make those decisions that are critical for the business.
Ah, very insightful. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all that information. Carla, it what happens if business owners are a little bit resistant? They know they need help with their finances, but what if they have that little bit of resistance and their mindset's not quite in the right place?
Yeah, and I encountered that a lot. And funny enough, I had a conversation earlier today with a business owner that said, I wish we would have called you a year ago. This would be a very different conversation today. And it's interesting because so many businesses have grown and scaled without a CFO along their way. But if you think about it, you can really save a lot of pain and expensive learning opportunities in your business by having the right expert on your team that's advising you along the way. It's almost like having a GPS and a dashboard on your car that says, hey, you have gas and you're going at the right speed level for where you're going, and then here's the location and the fastest way to get there, so your travel is leisure and without having to worry about changing the tire or running out of gas or anything, because we flag that ahead of time and make sure that your ride to the next goal that you set is just smooth sailing, is an easy ride, the speediest way there. And yes, you can do this yourself without the help of a CFO, and many have, and many also wish they had this support along the way, because it could have saved them a lot of money, a lot of risk, which is also financial sometimes, and a lot of headaches on not knowing that they could sleep at night and make payroll the next week because they were low on cash, and we could have told them that 3 months ahead so that they were doing something about it and preventing that from happening. So if you're on the fence about getting a CFO, just imagine how much easier your growth and scaling and profitability could be in the business if you had the right person partnering with you and the right data insights exactly when you needed to make those decisions.
Yeah, and that word partnering is really important, isn't it? It's not like, they're going to take over your finances and do away with your business, or, but then again, it comes down to trust as well. How do CFOs actually build that trust? I mean, I don't want to just hand my finances to just anybody.
I agree. And it's a very common concern. And I do advise a lot of people to do their vetting. Make sure that you're hiring the right professional, that you know that they are doing good work. And you can see that, in some of like the things that they share, right? Are they knowledgeable? Are they skillful? Have they gotten results before? And also, how do they make you feel? Right? Do they make you feel like you can come to them with problems and partner to drive solutions and brainstorm ideas? Or do you feel like, oh my goodness, I cannot talk to this person. They do not listen. They don't understand me. They have no idea where I'm coming from. That might not be the best CFO for you, right? And there's so many CFO options out there. So if you feel like you're not getting the right partnership or the right integration into your business where the CFO wants to know everything about the business so they can give you the best, most customized advice that really hits the mark, and they're making a difference on your financials too. That's a really clear indication that if your CFO is not helping you make more profit or keep more money, they might not be the right one for you. So be checking for that, because the numbers don't lie. And it's a really easy way to tell, are they just costing me money or they're actually benefiting me in some way? And because they have the right expertise and they're approachable, and I feel very comfortable sharing my financial mess behind the scenes and nobody knows about in private. And I also believe that they're going to keep that confidentiality as well when it comes to my financial information.
Yeah, that's so important, isn't it? You you hear of unscrupulous financial advisors, that take people and fleece all their money from them. But in where is the best place, I guess, to vet these people? How can you, where can you go? I guess what I'm trying to say is to find a list of CFOs that have great customer service.
I wish there was one sole place I can send you to say, here's the best top 10 CFOs in the country, or, wherever you are. But there isn't one, and there's not even accreditation. So I think you need to start looking at people's background, education, make sure that they have the experience they say they do. And, there's platforms you can verify that on, like LinkedIn and others. Where have they worked? Do they actually, hold financial roles in the past? What is their undergrad degree in? Things that could maybe make you feel like they are the right person and that they are telling you the truth. Honestly, I lead with that. When I engage any clients, I say, the reasons you want to hire us is because we have 15 years of experience, including 10 years in tech, 5 years of consulting, and an undergrad in finance. So we almost kind of validated, to our clients that they're making the right decision, and they're able to verify and check that online as well. And making sure that people are not just saying, hey, I'm a CFO, and they really are just doing bookkeeping work. It's another piece, an aspect of it. And there's a lot of very qualified accountants doing this kind of CFO work in addition to tax planning and support. And they have a CPA, so you feel pretty good about the designation as a certified public accountant, and that they have some background in accounting, and that is helpful. And they might hold some positions in the finance departments as well, where they worked before, that could give them that skill set. If you just have someone who took a course online, and got certified on QuickBooks, and all of a sudden they're saying they're your CFO, I would ask, right, what is your accounting background? What is your financial background? Do you have any expertise? What is your expertise in? Maybe they've worked and had a work experience that they can use to help you validate that they're the right fit for you. But I'd be wary, because there is not a one institution accreditation, and I wish there was, because I would love to be accredited by that and show that we're the right expert. But if people are not leading with that, be worrying. And also the other aspect is, I start every engagement with a non-disclosure agreement. That's just like a standard policy in my company to ensure that people know we do things by the book. You're going to get a contract. We're going to have terms outlined for how we provide services to you, and expectation setting as well, to make sure that you feel that you're being handled by an expert in a professional manner. So some of those things could be red flags if they're not there. So just watch out for that, and then ask the questions, because that validation process that you're going to have to go through yourself, unfortunately, is going to be key as well in choosing the right CFO.
Yeah, great information. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, it's and you alluded to some great questions that people should be asking before they hire, anyone, even a bookkeeper. What are their qualifications, and how long they've been in business, and and so forth. So yeah, really great insights. Thank you so much.
Course.
Carla, where can people find wealth and worth within to work with you and your company and or get to know you and find out more about you?
Yeah, our website is wealthworthwithin.com. You're welcome to book a discovery call to see if we could be the right fit for you. We always do that to make sure that whatever financial needs you have, that we know what they are, and then we can tell you how we can support you in those. Also, you can find us on all social media platforms at Wealth Worth Within. We put out a lot of free content and education. We want business owners to feel that they are really in control of their numbers. And if it's that time to outsource to a CFO, we want them to keep, thinking of us as a resource to tap into and outsource their finances to, and getting to know some help with their numbers. And we're on, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and recently added to TikTok. So if you are on any of those and you want to get some additional insights on financial advice for your business, definitely follow us.
Wonderful. Thank you. Carla, before we go today, have you got some words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our listeners and viewers today?
Definitely. Don't procrastinate on keeping your finances in order, meaning your bookkeeping. So if you haven't done it by now, it's the right time to get caught up. And also, you should be looking at your numbers monthly as a business owner. Even if it's a 5 or 15-minute exercise, it doesn't matter how much time you spend. It will give you the insights you're looking for, what should be coming next, and where do you need to double down or focus on in your business, and what things are not working. The numbers will tell you that. So take the time. It doesn't have to be hard. And if you need some help or guide, feel free to reach out. We're happy to do that with our business owners.
Lovely, Carla. Thank you so much for sharing all that knowledge with us today. It's been very eye-opening, I must say. And I look forward to talking to you again soon in the not too distant future.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Talking with the Experts, hosted by Rose Davidson. Make sure you have a look at our back catalogue over at talkingwiththeexperts.com. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on any episode. We look forward to your company next time. Talking with the Experts.